Hello, everyone, from the Odyssey cast of the evolution of the African American spiritual, minus one member. Today, we are missing Dr. Brandon Boyd, who is jet setting across this country, making such a huge impact on the world of choral music and young minds and old minds alike. So, we will miss him today, but I'm so happy to have with me Dr. Jolie Rocke here with us, and also Dr. Maya Gibson as well. So I think before we get started, one, it's just so good to see both of you.
It'd be better in person.
Yeah, it sure would.
It would be, it would be, it would be. But I'm really grateful for platforms like Zoom that bring us together and enable us to have this kind of platform to talk and to gather. But we haven't been in the same room as one another, if I'm correct, since fall of 19, the last concert. Is that right?
All of us together, that's right.
All of us
All of
together.
us together. Yeah. But we've had some individual, yeah, I know we've had some other stuff that's been going on, but all of us together since that was the last concert. I think that was September of 2019, if I'm correct,
I believe
or
so.
October.
I think so.
I think it was September.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a concert that was. We had our friends from Prairie View A&M join us. We had our friends from Mizzou join us as well. And we had a packed house during Roots and Blues weekend, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Is that true? Wow.
I think it is true, especially because this year, the fourth installment in the fall will also hit on that same weekend. And I think this is the second time we've done it. Third, can't remember. That's exciting. That's
Hmm.
exciting. So obviously, we have to just acknowledge the fact that the biggest delay in this whole thing has been this global pandemic that we have all been dealing with. How have each of you been? How have you been weathering this? Are you feeling hopeful now? Where are you at?
Well, I'm grateful that I've never actually had COVID. Thank God. I know a lot of people have, and I really isolated myself early on. Made sure I did my vaccinations and boosters. Matter of fact, it's time for me to get another booster before I head out to Missouri. And so it's been a time for reflection, but I've also been one of those artists that have been able to work, which I'm grateful for also throughout the entire pandemic. Um, and so it's just, we've lost a lot of people, and not been able to necessarily be there with them when they're on their last days. And that is really tough. And I think something that I'm still grieving and still um, working through. But it's hopeful that numbers are going down and that the medicine is, working, the medical strides are working. And let's just hope that we can move to endemic and back to life a little bit as we know. I don't think it's going to be the same ever again, but I think it'll be a little bit better.
Agreed. And Dr. Gibson, how about you? How are you doing?
Um, Hanging in there. I take it one day at a time. I too have been able to isolate, and I'm really, really thankful for that privilege of being able to just take this time to take a step back and really reflect and find the meaning of what it is to not only survive but thrive during this time. I know that a lot of us have been struggling, and I've just been taking the time to be in, I guess the best word is prayerful contemplation, for a world that feels like it's hurting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I keep my fellow humans in mind and in my heart and in my prayers. And so I guess I've just been taking it just one step at a time, one day at a time. How about you, Marques?
I agree with you both. I think I feel the same thing. I am hopeful now, and that for me is something that I really celebrate because for so long, like many people across, like many human beings, I it was hard to find to feel hopeful. I felt like we kept gearing up and then up back, gearing up and then up back, and so I think there was a point where I just decided, you know what, I'm not even going to get geared up. I'm just going to sit back, which can give way to maybe some other less desirable thoughts and feelings, surrounding that. And I know that we've heard in the medical community about the rise in anxiety and depression, and those are all things that I have experienced. But I too have been able to thrive as an artist during this horrific time. And now we are seeing, number one, I have a greater appreciation for what I do, and I'm more intentional about making sure that it has impact. But then also we are seeing, as numbers and cases come down and less deaths and hospitalizations, we are seeing that more and more arts organizations are being willing to come back and to engage their audiences. And it's really exciting to be, one, asked to do it, and then two, to be able to do it. And we've been on that journey, I think, for the last 5 months now, just, having a good time. To that fact, we were supposed to be together in February of this year. We were really excited about that. Speaking about that giddy up and then stop, the last concert was fall of 19. We thought maybe by fall of 20. That didn't happen, obviously. Then we thought at some point in 21. That didn't happen. And I think it was around June of 21 where we started having a conversation about doing it in 22. And we settled on February because we knew it was Black History Month. We thought, oh, this is going to have impact. And the program was done. Everything was done. And then the Omicron surge sidelined us yet again. But here we are, getting ready to take the stage in, if I'm correct, two weeks from today, or just over 2 weeks from today. Can either of you speak to, going on that theme of hope, can either of you speak to how the songs, the repertoire, the history that we talk about in these concerts, how is that important now? In what ways can that help us, or has it helped us in these last 2 years and going forward?
I'll take that first, okay?
Yes.
I was just thinking about that this morning, and I was recalling just, I guess maybe 2 weeks ago, the introduction of Justice to Be, Ketanji Brown Jackson, quoting Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise. In particular, the line, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. Yes. And as soon as you asked me that question, or asked that question, Marques, I got goosebumps, because that's what these songs represent. They, for our community, African American community, and really for America, and now globally, these songs are rooted in sorrow. Frederick Douglass called them the sorrow songs. But with sorrow comes a great hope for tomorrow, a great hope for the future. And we are, or a lot of us are the descendants of slaves in this, in the United States. And so that's what this repertoire means to me. I think of it as songs that my ancestors presented to me, and now I have been given the responsibility to pass them on to the next generation, and that's what gives me hope.
Beautiful.
I totally agree with you, and feel that for me, when I sing these songs, I feel my ancestors coursing through my veins and in through my spirit. I feel them. I can't really truly relate to the type of pain that they had to endure, because I don't know that type of pain. I can read about it, but I really can't feel that pain. But I could feel their joy in, I think, in knowing that we have progressed. We still have further to go. That hope, that seeking for a better life. I can feel that. I can sense that. I can sense the pain and the fear that they lived with daily. I have a sense of that. And so when I sing the songs, I embody that. And that helps me to heal. And I hope that it helps other people to heal. We have so far to go in this country, and in the world when it comes to racism and bias in general. We have a long way to go. We're not there yet, and that's why we call it the evolution, because we're
That's
not
right.
there yet.
I think that you both you're right on the head. I think that I think of the quote by is it Dr. Melanie V. Burnham, that says to sing the spiritual is to wage systematic warfare, particularly against a system that has sought to oppress us and keep us in the chains of slavery. Um, so as a vocal activist, I feel obligated to wage warfare. As a human being, though, who has gone through a pandemic that none of us have ever gone through, I have found new meaning in these songs that I suppose was always there. I believe was always there, but I never had clearly. While, like you said, Dr. Rocke, we can relate to our ancestors, we have not experienced that level of pain that they had to go through. But the experiences that we have had, particularly in these last 2 years, and when I think about pieces like Deep River and crossing over into Campground, when I think about Over My Head, I Hear Angels in the Air. When I think about those moments of isolation that were necessary in these last few years, and still can be required of us even now, because we're not out of it. We're better. I draw on that. It's like a wellspring of, to be redundant, hope, but optimism, comfort. You know, there's a certain level of comfort there too.
It's almost like we talk about the Negro spiritual as having a double meaning. Now we have a triple meaning, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was a double meaning from the times of slavery, where you have the thoughts of spiritualism and religiosity, and then you have I'm trying to get to freedom, right? And now we can add a triple meaning because it means something to us today as well.
Absolutely. Our goal in this program, when we met, a year ago to put this program together in this third installment, we always had the plan of, so I feel like I can say this. In the fall, we will have the fourth and final installment of this series with Odyssey, and we are so grateful to Odyssey Chamber of Music series, particularly to Ayako Saruda, who had a vision and came to me in 2018 that wasn't even related to this, but kind of just said, "Hey, I'm interested in what you have to say." And I thought then that it would just be like, a recital, and maybe her and I would collaborate, and maybe call in a friend or two. But what came to me, for those who don't know, was that at the time I was a master's student at the University of Missouri Columbia, MIZ, and I was in a class with Dr. Gibson, by far the best class that I have ever taken at any institution. And that class was called The History of African American Music, and it was an 8 a.m. history class. I just want to say that again. It was 8 a.m. But the way that Dr. Gibson instructed in that class, the content, my mind was constantly blown. It was 8 a.m., but it was no longer a chore for me. And I can remember when Ayako had approached me in the spring while I'm in this class and I'm learning all this information that I never knew before or had, vague ideas about. And she approached me and I thought, oh, we'll do just maybe I'll do, Earl Koenig, or I'll do, some cycle or something like that. But that didn't hit me. And I was on the tube in London in July of that year. And I remember sitting on the train and I'm thinking about, like, I've got to turn in a program. I've got to do something. And it hit me that I had to do the spiritual. And it hit me that I had to call Dr. Rocke, whom I've known since I was 15 back in Connecticut. And I knew that I had to get Dr. Brandon Boyd. And I knew that Dr. Gibson had to be in it because she delivered, and of many lectures, one lecture in particular. Now I'm thinking of two, because I think it was the Billie Holiday lecture. Was it? But then there were several. Anyways, and so I knew that I had to. I don't want to steal your thunder, so that's that. I mean, it's just beautiful. And so I knew that we had to do this concert, and so this was born out of that, always with the intention of doing 4. And then we kind of then the pandemic. So can anyone speak to, or if you remember, when we got together last year, our desire for this particular concert? Because this one, we're not necessarily going in the direction we thought we were going to go had we never been in a pandemic. We're going we're doing something different. Anybody want to speak to that? Particularly from the standpoint of the repertoire, where we are pulling from some of our old programs.
Yeah, we're pulling from some of our old programs, especially for those people who didn't make that first concert, right? Which was, each of them were really, really wonderful concerts. And we know that from the audience's response. And then, so material from the first concert, and also some of the material that we do individually. So I know I'm performing at least one of the pieces from my recording. And and some new things that we had not thought about doing before.
Absolutely. I think we
focused on works by new composers, or living composers, I should say, not new, but living composers, as well as those from the past, so that we show that the history is continuing. It's not something that has stopped.
Right. Also, I think one of the big things that we talked about too was that because of the the date constantly, moving unnecessarily. So we really wanted this concert. We really want this concert to be a balm to people. I mean, to be hopeful. And so we're that not only are we pulling from these previous programs for those who didn't get the opportunity to make it because they were fantastic programs, but also for perhaps the person who this might be your first time coming out of the house, perhaps, if and to let you know that there is indeed a balm in Gilead. And I think that I had a thought this morning when I woke up, and I know this comes from somebody. I'm not sure who it comes from. It might be Reverend Jesse Jackson, where he coined the term that we are hope dealers. Anybody remember that term? Was it him in the 80s? I think it was. He said, we're hope dealers. I think and I think about that. And
the 80s. What does he remember about the 80s?
80s or 90s?
I know, right?
I wasn't gonna say nothing. But I think we are in a way hope dealers. Dr. Gibson, can you speak to that idea of hope and these songs in particular in Colombia?
Sure. Oh boy, in Colombia?
Yeah.
I can speak locally.
Or take it any way you want.
Yeah, I can speak locally to Colombia, but I mean, I prefer to broaden out just a bit.
Please,
knowing that it's relevant to Colombia. first things first, though, I didn't know that story about London on the tube. Very interesting.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah,
know.
it was.
I did not know that.
Oh,
But what I would say is that this repertoire that we're presenting and the way that we're presenting it this time is just reflects a little bit different take on the evolution of the spiritual. I think for me, as an historian, uh, my brain operates primarily in the way back machine. And so I'm thinking about the meaning of this music in terms of what it meant to the people who for whom it was contemporary, right? That's where I usually operate, that's where I'm thinking. But with this concert, because of all of the things that are going on globally and locally, in terms of race relations, in terms of class strife, in terms of just what we all perceive as kind of a disconnect between communities, the idea was to knit together or kind of recuperate the historical and the topical and bring them together so that we can find some kind of space of exhalation, inhalation,
yeah.
breathing, living, spiritual connection with each other. The four of us, three of us here, but four of us, and in the community, and in Missouri, and in the United States, and
Hmm.
universally, right? That's what we
Hmm.
need.
Hmm.
We literally need a balm, right? To just sort of knit us together, bring us together, to feel better.
That was beautiful, Dr. Rocke. What does connection? Let's spin off of that a little bit. When you think about connection and the power of music it has to connect people, what role do you think you play in that? What role do you hope to continue to play in that? Um, how does connection? I'm thinking about this idea. How does connection and music? What do you think of it in terms of how do you feel about
Well, I kind of live my life on music and connection, right? The connection of educating young people and aspiring artists to learn different styles of music and how that connects to their world and how it can reach others. For us as artists who are storytellers, we're really storytellers, right? Through song. And the fact that we're connecting the past to the present, we're connecting our spirit to the spirit of the audience members and those who are listening, and to one another as we're on stage together. Music is so important to our lives. It is healing, it is therapy, it is, you know, history. It is, it just speaks to everyone. Various genres, we all have our own subjective tastes, but
it?
we can always listen to music, even if it's, music that people say, oh, I'm not crazy about that, right? You can still get something out of it. There's still meaning in every piece of music that you experience. I won't just say listen to, because I think music is an experience.
Mm.
There are so many people that I've worked with over this past 2 years who are not aspiring to be professional singers in any way, but they wanted to study voice because they needed that healing within themselves. And it's been very important to them and important to me to be able to help them in that journey.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, it's a lot of
I,
connections in music.
I think so. I think I'll go a step further and make it personal too. I think about the connection of the four of us.
Mm.
I the fact that Dr. Rocke has been a part of my life for so long, you know, uh, you know, a
Definitely.
while. Yeah, I was
More
going to
than
say more than half it. Yeah, And the fact that she has played such a consistent role in not only the development of my musicianship, but also my professionalism as a musician. And then when I came into a new space and I met Dr. Gibson and I met Dr. Boyd, and almost instantly, if not instantly, it was like how they say, the young kids say, real recognizes real. I knew right away that I'm like, even though I have this dynamic of professor and student, this person I'm going to be connected to. Mm-hmm. And I knew that Dr. Rocke was that missing puzzle piece. And so the fact that none of us knew one another artistically, we could say we knew of each other perhaps, but the four of us didn't know each other artistically, but this music has brought us together. And sometimes I almost wish we would have a camera on when we're in some of our planning sessions, because the way we go back and forth, and and the witty banter and the knowledge that is between all of us when we are all together. I mean, that I think is probably the greatest example of connection.
And I would add also to that how we have connected, like our tentacles
yes.
to other places, and so the connection to Prairie View University, the connection through this project, the connection to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, the connection to the Boone Historical Home Foundation, and some now project work that I'm doing with them that is, only because I was in Columbia doing evolution of the spiritual,
yes.
And now a whole new project has been birthed through that is bringing in people from Canada, and all across the United States, and there's even some international interest. And so you connect and you find ways to continue to connect. Think about the other students that, whose lives we've touched at Mizzou through master classes. And
yes, that's right. That's right.
And now you're in Florida and doing your thing in Florida and doing your thing internationally. And and Dr. Boyd is not here for the same reason, because he's doing his thing internationally. And there's so much that each of us do, and how we connect. But I think that it was you're a mastermind in pulling the four of us together, Marques.
Like, you're kind to say that.
It's true though. It's true. It's true. And wow. I don't think that things happen by mistake. I think that things happen for a reason. So
absolutely.
It's your hard work that made it happen. But I mean, in some ways it's God's hand or the universe's hand that brought us together.
And that's it right there. Because I think that this was destined to be. I don't believe in coincidence either, my personal beliefs, but I think that this was destined to be, and I think we managed to capture lightning in a bottle, and I'm very excited about that. So as we wrap this up here, I want to do, I've seen this done on television shows, and so I want to do this rapid fire, okay? So I'm going to ask you questions as it pertains to the show that we're getting ready to put on, the shows that we have done, and then what's even to come, perhaps in the fall, which we have some great ideas around that issue. And wanted to remind folks that this concert, The Evolution of the African American Spiritual, Blessed Assurance is the title of this one. And we think that's very befitting for this time, is Friday evening, May 20th at First Baptist Church. I want to say one time, but I'm going to say 7:00, because if it's a little later than that, you'll be there early to get a seat. So, 7 p.m. Friday night, May 20th at First Baptist Church in Columbia, Missouri. We are excited to be together. This is going to be a very intimate setting. It will just be the four of us together for this concert, and we are very excited. So, rapid fire in our last few moments. Favorite song that has been sung in one of the concerts so far?
Scandalize My Name.
Steal Away to Jesus.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we can get out of a concert and not do Scandalize, by the way. I don't think we could. I don't think it. I think the audience would revolt. It's on the concert, folks. Just so you know, it's there. Okay. Ooh, I know. Favorite look that we've done clothes wise, because we've done some looks now over these last times. One that you've worn, one that you've seen. What it?
I like the Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King look. That was different. I liked that.
I like that too.
I liked when, okay, this is going to be keep 100, 100
Yes.
here, okay?
Yes. Yes.
I loved Jolie's look when y'all did the Steal Away.
Oh yeah, we had attempted to replicate if I'm getting this right, to replicate what it would look like in the 19th century, early 19th century, right?
Right.
Okay.
Remember that, Jolie? You made your skirt. You made.
Yeah.
That was just.
Yeah. Thank
that was
you.
nice.
We'll see.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun. I think my favorite look actually is yours, Dr. Gibson. Second concert where we changed into the African print, and it was like the coat with the collar. You remember this?
I do.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thanks.
Okay. Last two things, and then we'll go on our way. What do you hope people walk away from this concert with? Coming up on May 20th. Is there a hope? Is there a goal in mind?
Hope in general and healing.
I hope that people emerge having had their spirits fullness. Like not a Happy Meal, but a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. I hope that what we give to folks is fuel to keep going in whatever area and whatever. Just keep pressing one day at a time. I think as I said in the beginning. Okay, and last question. This is gonna be a tough one, but it's rapid fire, so think quick. Favorite Black or brown composer and or singer? Can you give me one? That's hard. I know it's a hard one.
I hate these favorite questions. There are so many.
I know. Okay, so okay. I'm gonna cheat. I'll get top 3. You get to choose 3, but quick. You don't get to think about it long.
Price.
Yep.
I don't get to think about it.
Yep. Oh rapid fire.
I mean, my head is going like this.
I know.
William Grant still. Florence Price.
Beautiful. Dr. Gibson.
Harry Burley. Ooh. Oh. I want to name somebody contemporary, like right now. Okay. That's good. That's a good one. And I mean, I have to say Billie Holiday. So Billie Holiday, that's easy.
Okay. Leontine Price. I'm probably gonna go Hall Johnson. I think his repertoire sits a little high for me, but I like to listen to other people do it. And I'm actually gonna say, and this is not, I'm gonna cheat here because I'm picking 2, because it's gonna be Dr. Rocke and Dr. Boyd. Dr. Rocke has always been she is the standard for the soprano for me, and that's obviously I'm biased. And then Dr. Boyd, his compositions, I mean, they just sing themselves. He writes. I feel like he writes for my voice. He hasn't yet, but this is a call out to Dr. Boyd to go ahead and write me a sacred cantata, please, or something, or something.
that is really not a fair question, and I'm just gonna put that up because you got John Cornelius, and I mean I could just go on and on and on. Roland Carter. I mean the musicians are just incredible.
And
You
we're leaving so many people
Nathaniel
out.
Dent, Margaret Bonds. Don't
Right,
come
right.
on, come
Not fair,
I
on.
know,
Marcus. Not
I
fair.
know, I know. But we needed a rapid fire, and hopefully, some folks who are watching this, I hope you put in the comments down below who are some of your favorites as well, because we'd love to see those as well. We are looking forward. Thank you so much, Dr. Rocke and Dr. Gibson, for joining me today as we get ready for this concert. We are really excited to be with you all Friday, May 20th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at First Baptist Church on Broadway in Columbia. This is going to be a fun concert. Dr. Boyd will be with us on the keys. And we're excited to not only perform, but to also fellowship with you afterwards as well. Anything else? Closing comments? Anything you want to say as we go?
Marian Anderson. John William Lyme Boone. I mean, come on.
Dr. Rocke.
No.
Anything from you, Dr. Gibson?
Janae Bridges.
Yeah, I almost
Yes.
said her name. Just take care of yourselves and each other until take care of yourselves and each other until we can come together.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.